Hi everyone, it's Heidi again. Today we're going to react to a video by Feli from Germany. A lot of you guys have recommended videos from her. I just have not reacted to any on this channel yet, so I'm really excited. This video is called 13 Things You Need to Know Before Going to Germany. For those of you who don't know, I visited Germany for the first time last summer, and a lot of people in my YouTube comments, in my Twitch chat, helped me to prepare for that trip. But I am still curious if I might have missed anything. I wonder if I embarrassed myself in any way while I was there as a tourist. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Come see me on Twitch. I'd love to meet you. And let's do this.
You want to go to Germany? Here are some things you need to know before you go from a German native.
And her English is so good.
Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but have been living in Cincinnati, Ohio, off and on since 2016. Now, traveling isn't really a thing right now, but I know that many of you can't wait until that's going to be possible again. And I know that many of you are planning your future trips in your heads. And for all of you who've always wanted to visit Germany, or even move to Germany, I'm sharing some things that you should definitely know before you go. These are things that I usually tell friends who go to Germany for the first time, but I'm sure that many of you guys could benefit from this as well.
I should have watched this before we went.
The first one sounds pretty obvious, but believe me, people forget about this all the time. Different countries have different outlets and voltages. So if you're from the US, you'll need to bring or buy an adapter if you want to use your electrical devices, because your American plugs won't fit into a German outlet. We also have a voltage of 220, 230 volt in Germany, whereas it's only 120 in the US. And not all electronic devices can handle the switch, so be sure that you do some research about that before you go.
I think that this happened to me with my hairdryer. I was using my hairdryer in Germany. Wait, no, it was in Denmark, sorry. And if I used my hairdryer on high power, full heat, it started to smell like it was burning. So I stopped doing that, and I still actually just have it on medium heat, medium power, because I'm worried that it's going to explode or something. So that's a tiny little thing that I learned the hard way. I think that was the only issue that I had with the voltage difference.
Especially hair dryers and hair straighteners usually don't work with a different voltage. I actually broke a hair straightener once because I tried using my German one in the US and that just made it stop working. What does work usually though is laptops and phone chargers and those kind of things. And even though I am obviously aware that the outlets are different, I totally forgot about it this past Christmas when I went home to be with my family, because I got a new laptop recently in the US that came with an American charger, and I totally forgot that for the first time ever I would need an adapter that goes from American plug to German plug and not the other way around. But luckily my dad has a bunch of travel adapters and one of them actually fit. Then of course we also use a different currency in Germany. It's the euro, just like in many other countries in the European Union. And at least compared to the US, we also use a different measurement system, the metric system with kilometers instead of miles, etc. Even though the US really is the odd one out here.
Yes, I agree.
The next point causes a pretty big shock for many people who visit Germany for the first time. Stores are closed on Sundays, even grocery stores. So make sure to plan ahead, because the only places you'll be able to find any groceries on a Sunday are stores at train stations and gas stations.
I don't remember if we were there on a Sunday. We were there for 5 days, and I don't remember if we were there on a Sunday. I don't remember that being a problem. I'll have to look back and see, because I didn't really think about this at all. Is this still the case? I'm guessing this was recorded in 2020. Oh, 2021, okay. Do you guys still experience that if you live in Germany? It sounds like Utah, USA, honestly. I'm kind of used to that. Even though we do have more and more stores and more things staying open on Sundays as the years go on.
Has a Christian background, but it also has to do with workers' rights. In Germany, we believe that everyone should be able to get a rest day on Sunday and spend time with their family. Restaurants, movie theaters, and those kind of things are usually open though.
Interesting, okay. I think
Even if you're only in Germany for a day, you should make sure to carry cash on you. Germany has a pretty big cash culture, and there might be quite a few occasions where you won't be able to pay electronically, like when you want to get something at a bakery, a kiosk, small stores that don't accept card payments, or things like parking machines. You can either get some cash from the ATM in Germany, but be aware that there will probably be an ATM fee and a currency conversion fee if your bank account isn't in euros, or you can also ask your bank at home to get some euros to you before you leave. That might be the best option actually, because that way you'll also have some cash right when you arrive in case you need it. What you shouldn't do though is exchange money at the airport, because it'll be a lot more expensive.
So I don't think that we struggled with cash only things, especially in Germany, but we definitely had some euros on us just in case. I think that we got them just from an ATM, but it's been a little while. Okay.
Now let's talk about what you need to know about driving in Germany, because there are a few differences that you should be aware of before you get behind the wheel. The first thing is that gas is a lot more expensive in Germany than it is in the US. It's about 3 times as expensive. So if you were gonna rent a car and just drive around Germany or Europe, that's not going to be as cheap as you probably expected.
Yes,
in fact, it might be a lot cheaper to get around by bus or train. We have a pretty good train system all over Germany and over Europe too. And especially if you're just staying within one city in Germany, public transportation might be a more convenient and less stressful option for you too, because traffic can be a little crazy, the drivers can be aggressive, and parking in a German city is usually a nightmare. When you need to get gas, you should know that you pump first in Germany and then pay afterwards. And you don't usually pay at the pump, but you'll have to go inside afterwards to do so. The regular gas in Germany is called Super, but of course you can always look at what it says inside of the gas cap as to what kind you should put in the tank. Then of course there are different driving laws in Germany, so be sure to check those out before you get on the streets. 2 major things are that you can't turn right on red, and you always need to watch out for cyclists and pedestrians, especially when turning right. I found that that's not really something that people learn in driver's ed in the States, because in many American towns, people walking or riding their bike isn't really a thing. For everything else, like the street signs, speed limits, and driving on the highway, the Autobahn, you can check out my video on driving if you want to learn more.
Interesting. I did not know that you couldn't turn right on red. That's very common here. We definitely are taught, at least I was, to pay attention to pedestrians anytime that we're going into any kind of intersection. But I do think that it's easy to forget about that because, yes, like she said, it is not very common to have pedestrians, bikers on the road. There have definitely been times where I'm kind of looking to the left so I can turn right, and then all of a sudden there's somebody walking in front of me. And sometimes I'm like, I'm really glad that I didn't go because I was not really paying attention to that. I'm guessing that people who live in big cities where there are lots of people walking and biking, or more, I guess, I wouldn't say lots, that they're probably a little more used to really paying more attention to that kind of thing. But here in the suburbs or in more of rural areas, it is almost non-existent.
This one might be kind of shocking to Americans. In Germany, it's legal to drink alcohol in public.
I love
and Germans do that a lot too, especially in the summer. So don't be surprised by that. And who knows, maybe you're gonna try it too and get a cool experience out of it if you can just sit by the river on a warm summer night with a 50-cent beer from the corner store. And yes, beer is pretty cheap in Germany, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah, I liked the beer for the most part.
Now, if you visit Germany as a tourist, you're probably gonna spend a lot of time at restaurants. So here's a few things that you should know about that. So when you walk into a restaurant, you can usually just seat yourself and don't have to wait for someone to show you to a table. Then you won't get ice in your drinks unless you ask for it, but even then, it'll probably just be a couple of ice cubes. The sizes of drinks are also pretty small in comparison to the States, just like almost everything in Germany. And water is not free at German restaurants, so if you order water, you'll usually get bottled water, either still or sparkling, which Germans are huge fans of. Once you're done.
Okay, the sparkling water was something I don't remember if I've mentioned in my videos about my trip. I had to get used to the sparkling water. I think that we accidentally got some once, and then after a while, it was kind of pleasant. I'm not the biggest fan of just carbonated, tasteless stuff. But even after 5 days, it kind of grows on you. Yeah, that was a little bit different for me and HailHeidi when we tried to get water in Germany.
And you have to ask the waiter for the check. They won't bring it to you automatically, and you're probably
Loved
gonna have
that.
to flag them down because they're not gonna check on you all the time. And then they'll usually have you pay right at the table, either with cash, or you can also pay with your card in most restaurants, but you'll have to let them know because they'll have to get the little device first. Now, when it comes to tipping, we tip around 10% in Germany, and the way it works is that you just tell the waiter directly what you want to round it up to. So if your check is 20 euros and you want to tip them 2 euros, you just tell them to make it 22 and you'll get the change for that. It works the same way with card payments too, so make sure to tell them the tip before you insert your card. Also,
I don't know if we tipped anybody in Germany. People that I know who are from Germany and the research that I was doing, I think that I learned that they don't care about tips. Tell me if this is a thing. Did I offend some waiters when we were there? I hope not. I hope not. We didn't go to a ton of nicer sit-down restaurants, but the ones that we did, I don't know if we really tipped much. So let me know if I'm a terrible person for that. Okay.
so just a heads up, the waiters in Germany might seem kind of cold compared to the ones in the US. You'll have to flag them down if you need something, and they're probably not going to be as friendly, which has to do with the fact that they don't have to rely on tips as much, but also with the German customer service in general.
I thought they were plenty friendly, not
Please don't
overly.
let it scare you off, but the customer service in Germany is pretty bad compared to the US, at least in my opinion. I know that many Germans are going to disagree with me in the comments, but if you're used to American standards, it's very likely that some of the people working in German customer service will make you feel like you're bothering them or annoying them. If that happens, please don't think that it has anything to do with you being a tourist or not speaking German. It's nothing personal. They treat me like that too. Of course, there's also many great people working in customer service who are lovely to talk to, but unfortunately, that's not the standard in Germany.
Yeah, I kind of liked that.
One of the most popular topics of complaints among tourists is that you have to pay to use the bathroom in Germany. Now, it's possible that that's going to be the case. Like at rest stops on the highway, you'll find these bathrooms with turnstiles, and at some public bathrooms, there will be a person sitting with a tipping plate, but that's not always the case. And at restaurants, it's usually free. But yeah.
So I only had to deal with that one time. It was in Cologne, I think, just in a mall, like a shopping mall. And it was a little bit different to have to pay. I think it was like €1. But once I got in, the toilets were self-cleaning. It was really nice. I'm just like, I can see why they have a tiny little fee, and I don't mind. It was honestly fine. I never saw anybody with a tipping jar though. I don't know if I would have known what to do. Kind of fascinating.
Yes, sometimes you'll have to pay for using a public bathroom, so it's always best to carry some change on you, just in case.
I'm not used to carrying change on me.
Germans like rules, and they like to follow the rules, and that includes stopping at a red pedestrian light. So, no jaywalking in Germany. And by that I mean that you won't see a lot of Germans jaywalk, and many of them don't like it when others do it either. Which, by the way, applies to other rules too. You may even get reminded by strangers to follow the rules.
I have heard
Besides
that.
the whole no jaywalking thing, some of these rules are to stay right on escalators to let people pass on the left. And very, very important, don't walk or stand in bike lanes. Next to the sidewalk, there's usually a bike lane, and there are many, many cyclists in German cities. And if you block the bike lane, you may either cause an accident, or you'll probably have a person on their bike ring their bell at you or even yell at you.
Definitely. I never experienced that in Germany. The one time that I struggled with anything that had to do with blocking a bike lane was in, I believe it was in Copenhagen. I was walking with HailHeidi and I couldn't see past him. And so I was about to cross one of the bike lanes and he had to kind of pull me back because there was a biker coming by and I didn't see them. That was the only thing that I had to deal with. So I feel like that's kind of common sense, but I'm sure that people get really distracted and end up blocking bike lanes sometimes. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
In case you happen to turn on the TV or want to go see a movie in Germany, don't be surprised if your favorite American actor suddenly speaks German, because almost everything is dubbed in Germany. We do consume a lot of American movies and shows in Germany, but Germans aren't big fans of subtitles. And even though more and more people do consume English media in their original version nowadays, the norm in Germany is the dubbed versions. Some movie theaters do show movies in the original versions too, though. You'll just have to look out for the little addition behind the title that says OV.
All right, that makes sense.
Many of you have probably heard the cliche that Germans are pretty reserved and rather cold, and there's actually a lot of truth to that. So before you go to Germany, you should definitely know that Germans don't usually talk to strangers a lot, and we aren't big on small talk, so don't expect to have some nice conversations with people at the store or something. It depends on who you interact with, of course, but at first sight, Germans can come off as unfriendly, especially when compared to Americans. It's nothing personal though, it's just a cultural difference. But if you ever have a concrete question, don't hesitate to approach a German and ask them, because Germans are usually very glad to help.
Yeah, if you have a purpose for talking to them, that makes sense. A lot of people warned me about that before just visiting Europe in general. I definitely found that that was the case. People don't really smile at you on the street as much as they do here in America, which is kind of refreshing. You can kind of let your guard down a little bit. Sometimes it's kind of nice to get a smile from a stranger, but yeah, I definitely don't think it's necessary. But you guys did a great job of warning me about that.
Now, how should I ask someone for advice if I don't speak German? Well, most Germans do know some English. They may have a thick accent and may not be able to have a full conversation, but they'll definitely be able to, give you directions or tell you the price of something. Many Germans also speak pretty good English, so those of you who come to Germany and do speak some German and want to use it, don't be thrown off if you speak to someone in German and they reply in English. It's a thing that many Germans do, and I know that it can come off as rude in a way, but they usually just want to make life easier for the two of you because they know that German is a difficult language, and if they think that their English is better than your German, they may think that they can make the conversation more efficient by switching to English. So please don't be offended by that. If you really, really want to practice your German, I'm sure you can just ask them to stick with German.
I tried to learn a tiny bit of German before going to Germany. Basically, what I got was, Guten Tag and Guten Morgen, if I'm even saying that correctly. For years, I would say Guten Nacht, which I found out actually means good naked and not good night. So I at least learned that before I went. But I think the best thing about just kind of learning a tiny bit of German before I went was that I could just recognize words when I saw them on signs, a little tiny bit. But I didn't really try talking to people.
The last point on my list is mainly targeted at people who want to move to Germany. Now, when you move into a new place, be prepared that it might come entirely empty. And by that I mean that there won't even be blinds, curtains, or light bulbs in it, and oftentimes not even a kitchen. So the space where the kitchen is supposed to be will just have a bunch of cables and pipes stick out of the wall, and you'll be responsible for getting all of the appliances and cabinets. Also, leases are usually unlimited in Germany, unless it's like a sublease or something. But in the US, I found that a lease usually has an end date, 1 year in a lot of cases, and then you can either renew it or end it. You won't have to do that in Germany. Also, when looking for a place, you should be aware that a bedroom can be really small in Germany, so you should always look at the size of the room or the apartment and not just the number of bedrooms, because a 3-bedroom apartment in Germany could be smaller than a 1-bedroom in the States. Also, bedrooms don't have closets in Germany, so you'll need a wardrobe or a dresser to put your clothes in, and there are many, many more differences regarding German and American houses. So if you're interested in that, you can just click here and check out my video about differences at home.
Yeah, you know what? I actually noticed that. We stayed in an Airbnb in Frankfurt. There was a wardrobe in there and not a closet. I didn't think about it because I think that you'll see that every once in a while here as well. I guess I didn't realize that that was the norm. I'm wondering if maybe newer apartments or houses might start to have closets in Germany. If you guys know, let me know. I didn't notice the wardrobe, obviously, but I noticed the windows, and you guys taught me how to open the 2 ways of opening the windows in Germany, and that was freaking awesome. So I think that might be the end of our video, but I'm just going to double check.
So those were 13 things that I really think are important to know as someone going to Germany for the first time, especially the whole friendliness thing, because I know of several stories where an American thought the German cashier didn't like them because they didn't speak German, or where an old lady yelled at them for standing on the left side of the escalator, and they let that affect their experience in Germany, and I really don't want that to happen. If you have more tips, feel free to share them in the comments below, and of course subscribe to my channel for free and activate the little bell so that you'll get notified about new videos of me. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, she's going through her socials, so we're going to move on from that. But that's so funny that one of the things that she really emphasized was the friendliness thing. And that's something you guys really emphasized too, especially in my Twitch chat, really warned me about that kind of thing. I felt like it was all very reasonable. People were not overly friendly, but they weren't overly rude either, except in France. In Paris, there were just a couple of people where I'm just like, okay, they were just a little more rude than other people that I've experienced here in Europe, which is sad because I know that that's a stereotype and not everybody in Paris was rude, but I definitely noticed more people there than in other places. Sorry. But I'm pretty proud about the information that I already knew from this video. I feel like we were pretty well prepared. That was thanks to my followers who are from Germany as well as from Denmark. I think that there were some similarities, especially with the friendliness thing that came from my Danish viewers as well. So thanks, you guys. It really was a good experience going to Europe. I'm really grateful to have met people online who know what they're talking about when it comes to visiting Europe or living in Europe. And one day I want to go back so badly. But thank you so much for watching with me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.